Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we just the other day went over a video of cards that were absolutely useless that became broken, and well, I think you can guess where we're going to go with this one. And just a reminder, we have our giveaway for $100 worth of Hearthstone packs. A link in the description below. If you do is like and comment on that video, subscribe to the channel, and I mean, look at that face. How can you not want to go check out that video? But yes, we did this video, Hearthstone cards that were useless, that became broken, and we have the inevitable comment from Tibile Enoshima here. What about cards that have gone from broken to useless now? So let's dive into the Hearthstone collection and take a look at what cards that were absolutely busted and are absolutely useless, and basically they're wild cards. Starting off, we'll go the Goblins versus Gnomes card. Piloted Shredder, 4-mana 4/3 mech, death rattle, summon a random 2-cost minion. Actually, totally forgot about this card, even when myself in chat over at twitch.tv/Zeddy today were making this list, and this randomly got summoned in a Duels game. That's how much I forgot about this card that used to be in like every deck back in GVG. Like, it was the only really good 4-drop other than a Chillwind Yeti, and you never knew what you were going to get. You could get a Millhouse Mana Storm, or you could get a Doomsayer, which felt really bad. But yeah, this card was a staple in I don't know how many decks, and I cannot remember the last time I saw someone put a Piloted Shredder in their deck. Even with all the mech synergies going on in the game, it still is not worth playing at all. Next is a card that shocks me. This card was meta forever after it was put into the game. Malfurion, the Pestilent, the Death Knight for Druid. It was just always auto-include. You always play Malfurion. And then Guff came out, and I've not seen a single Druid player play this card in Wild ever since that, because 20 mana is slightly more broken than an upgraded hero power. It's insane. It's insane that this card that was in every Druid deck that wasn't aggro, and even some aggro decks, doesn't see play like at all anymore. It's basically useless because, well, you're just gonna play Guff instead. Vilespineslayer, another example of a card that used to be in like every rogue deck, is introduced in Journey to Un'Goro. 5 mana, destroy any minion as long as you combo it. You can shadow step it. Seemed pretty insane, but we've seen a recent version of it that's a pirate that's pretty much is better than it, and that basically sees no play. Turns out efficient removal at 5 is not efficient anymore, and well, it's not that hard to remove stuff, especially in Wild, where you have a card like a 1-mana pirate that can kill basically everything. Vilespine was an odd rogue. It was in so many different decks, and again, it's a card that you just never see anymore, that it just, again, kind of blows my mind. Next, we have 2 Paladin 6-drops, both of which you rarely ever see, that were both absolutely broken. The TGT card starting off with Mysterious Challenger. I mean, we all have the PTSD of Secret Paladin from way back in the day. Battlecry put one of each secret from your battle deck into the battlefield. Just way too slow nowadays. It's absolutely way too slow. You can play a 2-mana weapon that can cheat out secrets, and that doesn't even see much play these days anymore. And then you have Sunkeeper Taram, which was just ridiculous as a discover option in Odd Paladin, but just in any like even Paladin deck, basically any token-based Paladin deck, this was broken. You buffed your stuff, you neutralized the opponent's stuff, and again, it's a card you just basically never see anymore. Alanath, the legendary weapon for mage that was introduced at Cobalts and Catacombs, was auto-include in like secret mage lists in particular. You could just burn through your deck, cheat out some cheap stuff, get some burn. Ridiculous card. And then Sage was made, and Rig Theragame was made in the same expansion, and Alanath basically became obsolete in Wild in Secret Mage, and now Secret Mage in general is obsolete these days as it doesn't quite keep up to the pace of Wild, but Alanath will probably never make the cut anymore, and that is kind of ridiculous, as it would draw 3 cards at the end of your turn, which you would think would be pretty insane. Next are Hunter, 2 Hunter cards that saw a ton of play that drove me crazy back in the day. First being Stormhammer, this weapon would not lose durability if you had a Dragon up, which basically made it an infinite war axe. It was pretty ridiculous, and then you coupled that the Rottenness Drake, which is a 5-mana 6/5 dragon that would, if you're holding a dragon, destroy a random enemy minion. This dragon deck was insane in Standard for like an expansion or two, but completely fell off, never found a home in Wild, and I remember baby raging like premium stats, upside, power creep, Blizzard, and this has been power crept out of the game. It kind of tells you how crazy the game has gotten when an infinite war axe and a 5-mana 6/5 that kills something is basically obsolete in today's Hearthstone. It pains me to put this on the list, but Emperor Thorson, arguably my favorite card of all time, It's basically completely useless now. This neutral legendary at the end of your turn reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1 was like the ultimate combo enabler. But then we got like Rune Mithril Rod, we got Incanter's Flow, an efficient Octobot. Basically every deck got better mana cheat, mass mana cheat, and we're still seeing that today. Cards like Seafloor Gateway and From the Depths. Like, it's just, Emperor Thorson was a very well designed and I thought balanced mana cheat card, and now we have all these cheap, insane, broken mana cheat cards that have made Emperor just not worth playing anymore. And it makes me sad because he was such an awesome card. Back in my day, a 4 mana 7/7 was regarded as one of the dumbest, most broken things they possibly could have made during Whispers of the Old Gods. They even buffed your Tunnel Trog. And yeah, you had a 4 mana 7/7, you overloaded for 2. Who cared? How do you answer that? And do you play a 4 mana 7/7 anymore? No, we even have one in Standard that doesn't even overload. It does draw your opponent some cards, but that card sees almost no play other than trying to use its death rattle. You don't even care about the 7/7 part. But think about how busted this card, the memes about this card that nobody even knows that its name is Flame Wreath Faithless, that this card, 4 mana 7/7, you can Lightning Bloom this out on turn 1, is not worth running at all. Aya Blackpaw and Jades in general, for the most part, are something that are completely obsolete in today's game. Take a look at Aya, Battlecry, Death Rattle, summon a Jade Golem. You're just getting good stats no matter what. You have Jade scaling, that's great, but it's 6 mana. Jades don't have proactive abilities, which just make them absolutely useless in today's Hearthstone. The only exception maybe being Jade Idol as like a way of negating fatigue in certain decks. Still to this day, sees a tiny bit of play, unless I guess you're ramping with a Jade Blossom. Pretty much all the Jade cards are absolutely useless. The first 2 classic legendaries to get Hall of Fame were so broken, so good, that the devs decided we gotta put it in the Hall of Fame. They can't be in Standard anymore. And the first one being Sylvanas, which sees absolutely no play in Wild, even where you have Death Rattle procs and Resurrect effects and all of this. Stealing a minion, not that great anymore. And I cannot remember the last time I saw Sylvanas see play. The same basically goes for Rag. This one's a bit more of a stretch. It still pops up in certain big decks and all of that, but Ragnaros is definitely a pale comparison to what he used to be, dealing 8 damage, an absolute meta juggernaut, could play in Big Priest and all this stuff. Doesn't really see play, but it's definitely not up to the level of a lot of these other ones, but I thought I would mention it just for, you know, well, it's diamond and pretty, we gotta look at it. Did you know that Azerdrake used to go into every single deck basically back in Classic and Standard, and well, for many expansions after? Do you know that Azerdrake is currently in the core set and even got buffed by +1 health? Did you know that basically nobody still plays this card despite the fact it was buffed because, well, card draw's cheap, spell damage not so relevant at 5 mana, the only thing that the card really matters for is Dragon Tag, and even in the Kazakhstan meta, the card still basically didn't see play for one of the most prolific and useful kind of utility neutral cards, even buffed and available for free to everybody, still basically sees no play. And last, we gotta leave off with Dr. Boom, the card that was quoted for, if we don't Hall of Fame cards to Wild, everyone will just be playing Dr. Boom until the end of time. When's the last time someone played Dr. Boom in Wild? I would argue it's been more than 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 years since this card has seen play in like a meta Wild deck. You would summon 2 Boombots that could deal some random damage. Hell, even got power creeped by a warrior version that synergized with bombs, and that card doesn't even really see play anymore. Kind of crazy to think that Dr. 7, Dr. Balanced, Doctor will never get nerfed, never did get nerfed, and absolutely never sees play anymore. So let me know in the comments below which ones I missed, which ones you disagree with, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.